Joining us now is New York Republican Representative Elise Stefanik. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Your thoughts on J.D. Vance's performance tonight?
I think this was an overwhelmingly dominating performance by J.D. Vance, and of course President Trump couldn't be more thrilled. J.D. Vance spoke directly to the American people. It was really his first opportunity to tell his personal story, which is an extraordinary one, an only in America achievement of the American dream. He also importantly spoke about the issues that matter to voters across this country: the inflation crisis, the border crisis, national security issues. So we believe this was an overwhelming win, and this is going to be momentum heading into the final weeks of this presidential campaign.
In your estimation, what was the biggest moment of the debate tonight?
You know, I think the biggest moment was just J.D. speaking directly to the cameras, to the American people, about his story and his upbringing, about how he relates to families that are struggling to make ends meet, who are having to make those tough decisions between, do I pay for groceries or home heating bills? I represent a district in upstate New York where the median income is about $45,000 for a family. People are struggling in today's economy. I also think the other most important statement he made was at the very end, when he talked about all of these promises that Kamala Harris talks about that she's going to do on day one. It was day one 3.5 years ago, and yet she's failed to deliver. And in fact, the policies under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have created so many crises, making it harder for American families to make ends meet.
Our most recent ABC News poll shows that Vice President Harris is leading the former president by 9 points among women. On the issue of abortion tonight, J.D. Vance said that we've got to do so much better of a job at earning the American people's trust back on the issue. How can Republicans earn voters' trust back on abortion?
You know, I think we need to communicate crystal clear what our position is. So you have Donald Trump as well as House Republicans who support access to IVF, support access to birth control. I am pro-life with exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother, and I think it should be sent back to the states. But these are really important, heartfelt positions, and we ought to be having these conversations as Americans. That's why sending it back to the states allows voters to do so. You point out the gender gap. It's not just the women's gender gap. Kamala Harris has a male gender gap, and increasingly you're seeing the electorate shift among African American voters, Hispanic voters, Asian American voters increasingly voting for President Trump. So there are a lot of seismic demographic shifts that are happening this election cycle. Another one that's important is working class Americans who overwhelmingly are supporting President Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, and I think that's going to be even more so tonight. I think this debate is going to move numbers in support of President Trump and J.D. Vance.
Oh, very interesting. All right, New York Republican Representative Elise Stefanik, we thank you so much.